Hello, my name is Roy Cohen, and I'll be hosting this week's Community Forum show. We're going to be talking about the Rhode Island Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society celebrating their 20th anniversary with a gala tribute to rhythm and blues. The entertainment for the evening is the Front and Center Band. If you've never heard of them, you're going to want to watch this because they are really very entertaining. Very lucky to have them booked for this particular function because you'll see that they're booked all over the country. Excellent music. This is a tribute that will take place on Friday, August 11th, 2023 from 8 to midnight. And for information, you might want to check in at www.bluespreservationsociety.org for ticket information. Okay, here we go with today's show. Hello and welcome to Community Forum. I think that today you're going to find it to be quite interesting. We have a guest coming on who's affiliated with the organization that we're going to be talking to you about. I'd like to introduce you to Max Whiting, Stoughton resident. Max, are you there?
How you doing? I'm here, yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? Max, we're going to be talking about the Rhode Island Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society, which I believe is headquartered in East Providence?
In Providence, Rhode Island.
In Providence. Okay, let's get into that. When was it founded? I think I have it as 20 years ago. 20
years ago is right. We'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary this August 11th. It'll be a really big event that'll be held in East Providence, and it commemorates the last 20 years, that we've been in operation as a nonprofit organization run by community people, and you know how nonprofits go. Nobody gets paid, but we rely on volunteers, donations, and we do fundraisers and so on in order to meet our expenses.
Okay, and why was it founded? What was the necessity?
Well, it was an idea that came from a couple of old timers who they saw another organization someplace, I forget exactly where, as in their travels, that was doing something like this, and they asked why not do it in Providence and in Rhode Island, and few people got together, community people, musicians, and talked it over, and they came to the conclusion that they thought this would be a good idea. One, because they thought the music was worthwhile and needed to be played and continued. But more importantly, they were really concerned that a lot of the musicians of color, a lot of Black musicians who had played this music, made an outstanding contribution to the state of Rhode Island with this music, because the music just transferred a lot of feelings and whatnot across the state, and they thought it would be a good idea to put the music out there, and they started out thinking about giving scholarships to kids and all that, and then eventually it expanded to do a lot of other things. So there's a heritage, there's a legacy, and there's a historical connection with rhythm and blues, with the Black community and with communities in general. And so the founders of this organization wanted to pursue that and see what was going on with that. And so they began to interview older musicians who had spent some time playing music in Rhode Island and developed an oral historical record. In other words, they were doing interviews and one-on-ones and memorabilia and connecting all of that. And along with that, there was a relationship established with the Rhode Island Historical Society, where all of this memorabilia and records and interviews and all that would be kept for future references, and that's going there now. So that's not it in a nutshell, but that's generally an outline. And I got involved because as a native Rhode Islander and as a musician, I thought it would be a place where I could make a contribution and also feel good about playing music with some of the old time friends of mine once again, and that has worked out. That has been just great. So that's why I got involved, and I'm still involved after all these years. I didn't come in right at the beginning, maybe 2 years into it, but I've been into it for the last longest.
I know that your involvement musically is a very serious involvement, having had the pleasure of working with you in the Political Asylum band for about 30 years. I could see that you have a deep love for the music.
Yeah, that's correct. And it's a funny thing because as you know, I went to school and I stopped playing music for a while, and I moved to Stoughton, my wife and I, and put our daughter in the school system here, and became involved in some local activities, some local politics. And I went to a political meeting, and that's where I met you. And so one thing led to another, and you and Steve Fratkin and Bob Kahn, I believe it was, were doing a sock hop or something like that, a musical thing, along with Marjorie Clapprood. And I went to it, I attended it, and the next day, when I was riding through your neighborhood, we started to talk about that, if you remember. And you asked me, where could you find a bass player? And I said, I'm here. And the relationship started then. And it was surprising to me because I had never played that kind of music, rock and roll and so forth, and Beach Boys and all that. But it turned out that it was one of the most satisfying experiences of my musical career. In fact, I played with you longer than I played with almost anyone else in my career. And Political Asylum, as most people know, very charitable organization playing for playing for all kinds of charities and homelessness and so forth and so on. I don't need to tell you about that, but Political Asylum became my home for a couple of 20 years, I guess, 20, 25 years we played together. So that's how we made a connection, and that got me back to playing again, where I met other musicians and started to go forward with my music once more.
You've got some great friends, Max. Recently, you celebrated your birthday, and you had called some of your old buddies and said, "This is what's going on," and they're in, and they were there at the party, and It was nice to see.
Yeah,
That no matter the age, whatever the age is, um, you're playing, which is nice.
uh-huh.
Um, but you were easy. I got to tell you that the nicest thing that happened is you rode your bike by my house, uh,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
had. We got,
yeah,
and hopefully we're going to be able to figure out a way to keep it going. Although
yeah,
it's more difficult now because most of the players, some of them are still here in Stoughton, and some are
uh-huh.
not from Stoughton, and it's tough logistically to get everybody together. But we'll
Yeah.
figure out a way to do it.
Well, one of the things, remember, our very good friend Steve Hillman has passed away, and for us, Steve was very important as our drummer, but also he provided a lot of good, excuse me, rehearsal space for quite a while, and that was very helpful to us in order to stay connected and stay organized. You know,
Yep, you have to have the place to practice.
yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And this organization, you have you been involved since the beginning? The Rhode Island Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society. When did you get involved?
When did
Yeah,
I get involved?
yeah.
Oh, I got involved about 15, 18 years ago, and I've been with it ever since. And um, as I said before, I got involved because of my music, love of music, and it was happening in Providence, and I'm a Providence native, just like you are. And so those two things came together, and some of the people involved were older friends of mine, and that's how I became involved.
You're even one of the line officers. I see.
Say that again.
I said you're one of the line officers.
I'm the vice president now. Yes, yes, I'm
How
the vice
often,
president.
how often do they meet?
We meet as we need several times a year. With the COVID and all of that, we've sort of relegated ourselves to Zoom meetings, but we meet in person when we can in Providence. Um, so we meet. We should meet a little more, but we meet as we need to. You know. Yeah. And
Well, from what I've seen, uh, it's easy to get involved. They look like they're a terrific organization.
yeah, yeah, it is.
Nonprofit. Nonprofit.
Yeah, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and so no one gets paid, and like I said, it's all strictly volunteers and people who are friends of the organization that help us out to do things here and there. You know, whatever we need to get done.
I see by the notes that I have here that some of the objectives of the organization devoted to preserving and promoting the legacy, heritage, and connection of rhythm and blues in Rhode Island.
Yeah,
The organization also works to promote, preserve, and promote rock and R&B through activities, events, and education.
yeah. In fact, we just did an event last night at the library up Mount Hope Library, and you know about that. That's your old neighborhood, Mount Hope, Hope Street and Rochambeau Avenue. We did a library event last night. It was a real good crowd there, and so we had nice conversations, and we played some music, and signed up some new members, and got some donations and like that. So those are some of the events that we do, things like that to help people to understand what we're doing, and to give them an opportunity to participate if they would like to, you know. And last night was a very good night because we got some people to sign up and got some donations, And we got some people who are going to come to our event on August 11th, the 20th year celebration. So some of the people picked up some tickets for that. So all in all, it was a very, very good night and a very good event for us to participate in. Yeah.
Weather-wise, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I say weather-wise, it was perfect.
It was, yeah, we play outdoors there. And I don't know if you know the library there, but there's an outdoor area right there, it's a cemented area. And so we set up out there and played, and they brought chairs out of the library and set up, and the people were on the sidewalks and everywhere else to hear our band and so on. So it was a good time. It was a really good time.
Do you find that there's a general acceptance to what your objectives are?
I find, yes, I do. No one has ever said anything contrary to that, but yeah, I think people are really interested in that, and they understand the music and why it's important. And one of the things I want to bring to the table is the R&B music form has a tendency to bring people together. And that's really important. In this day and age, more than ever, having people come together rather than people being divided. And so when we do R&B music, it's really good. There's all kinds of people in the audience. There's no one group dominating another or anything like that. And we think that that's a very powerful thing. And it's so powerful that there are people talking about using and making rhythm and blues music the official music for the state of Rhode Island, and that's a big deal. That's a big compliment, and there are people working on that right now. So we're proud of that. We're proud that we've come this far.
That's good. I see you. One of the things that I thought was really fantastic is you have a program, Instruments for Kids.
Yeah. In fact,
how does that work?
Well, the original founders of this organization started out with the idea that they were going to help young kids, poor kids mainly, who wanted to play music but didn't have a musical instrument. So the idea was to raise some money and provide instruments for these kids. And so that's where it started. And that was the first thrust of the organization. And the way that works, let me go back and say that has been one of the most successful parts of our organization over the years. I was talking to the director yesterday, and we probably have given out over the course of this time between 400 and 500 instruments to kids all over the state of Rhode Island in various schools and organizations who otherwise would not be able to play music. And so we advertise in various newspapers and whatnot for people to donate instruments. You know, people who used to play and they don't play anymore, and they donate our instruments to us. And we have a music store, Roberts Music in Warwick, and we'll bring the instruments there. And those that are okay, fine. Some of them need to be refurbished. Some of them need to be junked. But by and large, we're able to come through with instruments for kids. And that has been one of the, I think, one of the proudest things I can say about the organization at this point. It's a tangible thing. You may notice in your notes that there's a program that we work with called the Trinity Academy for the Performing Arts, and one of the things that's all about, that's a local alternative high school in downtown Providence. It used to be up on Messer Street, up in the Elwood section, and it's come together very nicely, and we've donated quite a few instruments to that organization. And in fact, one of our goals over time was to wind up giving a scholarship to this outstanding musical student at the school. And this year we were able to do that for the first time, and we awarded a $1,000 scholarship to an outstanding student at the school, musical student who writes music and sings and so on and so forth. So we're very proud that we were able to get to the place that we were able to fulfill that mission, which was to provide a scholarship to the students at the school. You know?
That's great. I really enjoyed seeing that picture of all the kids assembled with their instruments. That was quite a picture. And
yeah.
Cool.
Well, one of the things we do, Roy, on top of that is every year coming up in the fall, we do a program called Meet and Greet. And Meet and Greet is about the TAPA students have little bands and organizations and whatnot at the school. And we have our band, the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Band, and we do a joint concert. And what we'll do is bring them to a different venue. Sometimes it's East Providence. There was a venue in South Providence at the Elks, but the building burned down, so we won't be going there anytime soon. But we bring them there, and what we do is it's sort of like not a battle of the bands, but we'll play a set, and then the students will play a set, and back and forth. And we have parents and friends and brothers and sisters, and everybody's there. And at the end of the show, we'll do a joint jam session with the kids, and that's really one of the peaks of my day when I'm able to play with these kids. And a lot of these kids are playing with instruments that we donated to them, which makes the circle is complete, if you know what I mean.
It keeps everything going.
They keep the circle's complete. They need instruments. We get the instruments. They form bands at the school, and then they come and play with us. So
what's the connection, Max, with the Rhode Island Historical Society?
Well, there is Rhode Island Historical Society is the place where our memorabilia, whether it's artifacts, pictures, or whatever that's important to the rhythm and blues scene in Rhode Island. Along with, we have many, many interviews. I don't know the number right now, but there was a period of time in the organization when we interviewed all the musicians we could find, and sorry to say, some of them have since passed away, but we did a lot of interviews, tape recorded and visual interviews, and all of those are stored at the Rhode Island Historical Society, and we have a section there dedicated to us and our memorabilia and the pictures and the live interviews with these musicians. And so that anybody that's interested in knowing more about the organization can call up and go down there and see some of these interviews. Some of them are really fabulous, talking about what the guys were putting up with, what they were going through when they were first starting to play this music, the racism and so forth that they faced here in Rhode Island, and how very, very few of them got to play outside of the city. I mean, we couldn't go to play in Warwick or Greenwich or a place like that. We just weren't allowed to play out there. And these are the old timers talking. Every now and then someone would get a job there. But these guys lived that experience, and it's on tape, and it's at the Rhode Island Historical Society. So that's our relationship with them.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I believe you told me your storage area is in Pawtucket, or your museum is in Pawtucket?
The museum? No. You're confusing that with the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame, which is another organization.
Okay.
That's another organization. The Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame is dedicated to some of the things we are, but they are they vote on outstanding Rhode Island musicians, and they're in that old building there in Pawtucket, one of the old mills there, and they award not scholarships but recognition to outstanding Rhode Island musicians every year, and they have a committee that votes on it and so on. And so that's that. We're two separate, although we work together whenever we can.
One of the things that I found very interesting is that your organization has a goal of persuading the Rhode Island legislature to designate Rhode Island as rhythm and blues as Rhode Island's official state music.
Yeah. And we think that's a good thing. I don't think we're persuading, we're trying to influence them to, I don't think there's any persuading, but that was brought up a couple of years ago, has been floating around, and we have some legislative support for that. And the bill went up on the House, and it, like a lot of things, it died a year or so ago and in committee and all of that. But we thought that that would be a real feather in our hats to have that happen, and for us to be the ones that push it. And why we think that's important, as I said earlier, R&B, rhythm and blues music, has a tendency to bring people together. You'll see people playing, black musicians playing with white musicians in all kinds of clubs and dancing and all that going on. And that doesn't happen everywhere all the time. And historically, Rhode Island and the city of Providence made a big push around this when Paul Filippi opened the Celebrity Club in Providence. And the Celebrity Club brought in a lot of big name acts, most of them African Americans. And that club became sort of a melting pot where people would come from all over to see those acts. And they were black and white and everything else. And so we think that the music, rhythm and blues music, ought to be given that consideration and given that credit. You know?
Celebrity Club has been around for quite a while.
It was, and it's closed up after some years. Yes, yeah.
I didn't realize that. No.
Yeah,
I remember hearing it on the radio, advertising that they were having performances and people who were coming there to enjoy the music, as you're saying.
Yeah,
but they're closed now.
Oh, it's been closed for years and years and years.
That's too bad.
Yeah, well, business changes. One of the things that had an influence on the state of Rhode Island, and on the music was the bases at Quonset Point. There was a lot of sailors there that would come to town and come to the Celebrity Club and come to these other clubs. But once the fleet left, and they left Newport as well, it really made a hole in the audience for rhythm and blues music and so forth. But the Celebrity Club was the place. It was really a big place for that.
Interesting. The organization is having a celebration, a 20th anniversary event on August 11th.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah. That's right. And that'll be a week from Friday, August 11th, from 8 to 12 at the Cape Verdean Progressive Center on Grosvenor Avenue in East Providence.
Right.
And so there's we have tickets on sale. It's $20 in advance and $15 at the door, and tickets can be picked up. You can go to our website, Rhode Island Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society.org, bluespreservationsociety.org, and you can order tickets, or you can order tickets from our headquarters in Providence, and that's 12 Kipling Street in Providence, Rhode Island, and that's at Cleveland Kurtz. You saw Cleveland on the Channel 6 event. That event was really a kickoff for trying to get the blues to be the state music. You saw that clip on on Channel 36.
Right.
That can be seen. Yeah.
Well, even though it's about 45 minutes away from our local location, it sounds like it's really going to be well worth the trip to go in.
Yeah.
Even my wife is excited about it. The little she knows, and we're planning to come.
Oh, good. You were there at that place 5 years ago. I remember when I had a birthday party there. Recall that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you were there, and Marge was there, and the whole gang was there for that. And so that's sort of a home base for us in a way, because there aren't many places that we can rent to go in. I mean, the rent's right and so forth, and so we can rent that place and have a good turnout.
Well, you know what I'm going to try to do if I can get the right switch going here is I want to play a little clip of the band that's going to be playing that night. The
Okay.
Front and Center. I've never heard of them, but I'll tell you something. They're an amazing group of musicians.
Yeah. Well, they play. Well, we're lucky to have them because they've played all of the major casinos and what have you. And just so happens, I was in Florida last year, and they happened to be there, and so I got a chance to meet them and follow them a little bit. And so when we needed a band for this event, we got them, and we're lucky that we were able to get them.
Well, let me see what I can do here. We'll watch it here.
Okay.
You know, I've heard people say that loving you is just not enough. And everything that we've been going through, darling, for whatever the reason, we just can't seem to figure it out. And although sometimes, girl, we made love and we shared love and all sorts of wonderful things, for whatever the notion may be, sometimes we just can't get it right.
in love with your body. 'Cause I'm in love with your body. We can discover something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. We can let the story begin.
I thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you and Sylvia Saturday night, Friday, the 11th of August, from 8 to midnight. The band's going to be playing the whole night. Is that correct?
Well, they'll be doing a couple of shows. We have member recognition going on. We also have raffles because people have donated things to us to raffle off as fundraisers. So it'll be a full evening. There'll be a lot of things along with the music for people to enjoy. Some of the old timers will be there, and so you get to meet them, some of the older musicians. And as I said, we've had a lot of things donated to us, so we usually run a raffle at our event to try and raise some funds to defray the cost of doing these events. So we are always looking for new members, for volunteers who want to help out on a project here and there. And so we're always looking for instruments. People have old instruments in the closets and under the beds and every place that they're not using anymore. They've given up a long time ago. We ask them to donate it to us, and we give them a tax deferred statement on the value of the instrument and so on. But the membership in our organization is open to the public, as I say, and so that anyone can join who has a desire to be involved in this music and this event, and especially to try and help the kids, because we know that kids who have a musical experience generally do better in school than kids that don't have that experience, and that it gives them something to be proud of. And so we're looking forward to continuing and strengthening our Instruments for Kids programs, and try to help them to do better. I mean, that's a very important thing. We got to take care of the children the best way we can.
That's great. It's something to be very proud of, I can tell.
Well,
Right, we'll see you on the 11th.
I want to thank you for taking the time and the energy to put this together. It's really appreciated, and I know the organization appreciates it, and we'll appreciate it when, and hopefully we'll get some new people involved as they see the video, and will want to become part of the organization some way or another. As I've said before, you can volunteer for an event, or you can become a member, and any way you want to do it, or just come to our event. Okay, it's August the 11th from 8 to 12 at the Cape Verdean Progressive Center in East Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thank you, Roy.
It's my pleasure.
Uptown funk I'm living for. Your love I'll keep forevermore. You're my first, my life, my everything. I know you wanna leave me, 'cause I refuse to let you go. 'Cause ain't you proud to beg, my sweet darling? Please don't leave me, girl. You won't go. Sugar pie, honey bun, sugar pie. You know that I love you. I love you. I can't help myself. I want you and nobody else. And it's just like the ocean that's under the moon. Same as the emotion that I get from you. You got the kind of love that's gonna be so smooth. Give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. I reminisce about the days of old with that old time rock and roll. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Dance, baby, dance. I don't ever wanna leave this moment. Dance, baby, dance. Right now I know I'm the only. Dance, baby, dance. I don't ever wanna leave this moment. Dance, dance, dance. No, no, it's a human sign. When things go wrong, the scent of a lingers, baby. Temptation strong, cold, cold heart. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home.
Your ear reach up to the